Safety Manager. From Zero to Expert by Dmitry Borovoy. Federal and State Jurisdiction. Chapter 2. Federal and State Jurisdiction. In Chapter 1, we pin down who you are and what you do. Now let's map the field. Truck regulation in the U.S. runs on two floors, federal law on top, state law underneath, and sparks fly between them all the time. This chapter puts four words in their place, words you'll hear every day from here on. DOT, FMCSA, Interstate, MC Authority. After this, you won't get lost when someone says, "We've got an interstate violation," or "We're intrastate." We don't need that. Pause. 2.1. Why it's built this way. One simple idea first. Nothing downstream makes sense without it. The U.S. is not a single country the way you're used to thinking. It's 50 states, each with its own constitution, its own legislature, its own police, its own taxes, and its own rules. Above them sits the federal government with its own laws and its own police. Two systems running at the same time. When a federal law and a state law say different things, federal wins by default. That's the supremacy clause, federal preemption under the Constitution. But that's the general rule. In real life, the state often regulates things the feds never touched, and on those, the state is king in its own house. The takeaway for a safety manager: you work in two coordinate systems at once. One hand on FMCSA federal rules, the other on the quirks of your state of registration and the states your trucks actually run through. Pause. The thought running through your head right now is, 50 states, the feds, preemption. I can't hold all this in my head. Stop it. You don't need to hold all of it. 90% of safety manager work is pure federal law. FMCSA, 49 CFR, one source. State stuff is the remaining 10%, and almost all of it is taxes and permits. IFTA, IRP, NYHUT, KY, NM, OR, CT. We'll break those out in Chapter 8. Know the state where the company is registered. 2. Know the states your trucks actually run in. 3. When state contradicts federal, don't guess. Call a lawyer or call us. That's it. Keep moving. Pause. 2.2. Where these rules came from. Without the history, the rules look like a pile of random bands. With the history, you see the logic. Short version. Late 1800s, first trucks, steam-powered, slow, weak. Then Carl Benz puts an internal combustion engine on a truck, and the industry starts picking up speed. 60s, 70s, golden age. The truck becomes the main way freight moves across the country. Drivers get sung about in movies and country songs. People walk into the job with no diploma. The pay is good. Mid-70s, crisis. Fuel prices spike. Strikes, bankruptcies. By 1980, there are over 18 million trucks in the country. 3 times the 1941 number. 1980, deregulation. Congress passes the Motor Carrier Act of 1980. Before that, to run interstate you had to get permission from an agency called the ICC, and they handed licenses out sparingly. After deregulation, the number of licensed carriers grew from 17,000 to 40,000 plus in 10 years. 90s, FMCSA arrives. A flood of new companies equals a flood of inexperienced drivers equals rising crash rates. The government's answer is a dedicated agency just for commercial transport. That's how FMCSA and the system you work in today came to be. Today, per FMCSA data, 1.6 million motor carriers, 3.6 million truck drivers. The industry as a whole employs about 8.4 million people. 7.1 million trucks. 70% of all goods in the country move by truck. 10 billion tons of freight per year. 5.8% of all jobs in the country are in this industry. If trucks stop, stores empty out in 3 days. That's not a figure of speech. That's arithmetic. You're stepping into the industry that physically feeds the country. 2.3. The Department of Transportation. DOT, Department of Transportation, a federal department with cabinet rank. Created October 15, 1966. Operational April 1, 1967. It's an umbrella. Every transportation agency in the U.S. lives under it. FHWA, Highways and Roads. FMCSA, Commercial Trucks and Buses, our home. FAA, Aviation. FRA, Railroads. MARAD, Coast Guard. NHTSA, passenger vehicle safety. Out of that list, the one that matters to you is FMCSA. Occasionally FHWA for oversized permits, and NHTSA when trucks get recalled. When people say dot number, dot inspection, dot audit, technically all of that is FMCSA. But the industry says dot out of habit because it's shorter, and because FMCSA is DOT's child. 2.4 FMCSA, your main regulator. FMCSA, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, agency inside DOT, created in 2000. This is the agency you'll deal with every single day. What FMCSA does: 1. Writes the rules. All federal safety regulations live in 49 CFR, the Federal Code, Title 49. 2. Issues authority. USDOT and MC come from FMCSA. 3. Controls, audits, roadside inspections, investigations. 4. Punishes, fines, authority revocation, out-of-service orders. 5. Runs the databases, CSA, SMS, Clearinghouse, PSP, all there. The 49 CFR map a safety manager should know. You don't need to memorize this. You need to know where each thing lives, so when a section comes up, you can pull it up in 30 seconds. 49 CFR Part, what's in it? Part 325, Noise Standards. Part 350, State-Level Safety Program Support. Part 382, Drug and Alcohol Testing, Chapter 9. Part 383, CDL, Driver's License Standards. Part 385, Safety Fitness, Procedures and Ratings, Chapter 17. Part 386, Enforcement Procedures. Part 390, General Federal Rules. Part 391, Driver Qualifications, Chapter 5, Driver File. Part 392, Operating a Commercial Vehicle. Part 393, Truck Equipment, Chapter 6, Unit File. Part 395, Hours of Service, HOS, Chapter 7. Part 396, Inspection, Repair, Maintenance, Chapter 6. Part 399, Employee Safety. When an inspector hands you a violation, it always cites something like 392.3, operator ill or fatigued. First number is the part, second is the section. If you can open the CFR to the right page, you're already halfway defended. The whole CFR is free at ecfr.gov. Bookmark it. You'll use it. The principle FMCSA runs on: FMCSA regulates carriers operating in interstate commerce. Carriers that only run inside one state, intrastate, are mostly left to the state. That's the fork every new company conversation starts at. 2.5. Interstate versus intrastate, the fork you have to learn. If you don't get this clean, every chapter after this will trip you up. So, slowly. Interstate. A company is interstate if it hauls across state lines, or within one state, but the freight per the paperwork is moving further out, or came in from out of state, or between the U.S. and a neighboring country, Canada, Mexico. Interstate is regulated by FMCSA, requires USDOT number, MC number, if hauling for hire, for pay, for someone else. DOC3, process agent in every state. Full federal compliance, HOS, drug and alcohol, driver qualification. Intrastate, a company is intrastate if it hauls only within one state, and the freight never leaves or enters from out of state. Regulation is state level, usually the state DOT or Public Utilities Commission. FMCSA federal rules mostly don't apply, but states often write their own rules that look a lot like the federal ones. California and Texas basically copied federal HOS onto their intrastate carriers. Florida did not. 3 FMCSA stack categories. 1. Interstate, general freight, about 500,000 plus companies, the bulk. 2. Interstate hazmat, about 35,000 companies, tighter rules, pricier licensing. 3. Intrastate, 1 million plus companies, mostly small local operators. 3 scenarios so it actually sticks. Scenario 1, clean interstate. Ivan registers a company in New Jersey, hauls Amazon freight from a New Jersey warehouse to Florida. A state line gets crossed, that's interstate. USDOT, MC, full federal compliance. Scenario 2, interstate that looks intrastate. Company based in Texas. Driver runs Dallas to Houston, both points in Texas. But in the trailer is a container that came in from China and is headed onward to California. This is still interstate. Freight in transit across states equals full federal paperwork. Scenario 3. Clean intrastate. California company moves furniture from an LA factory to a SF store. Made in California, sold in California, never leaves the state. That's intrastate. USDOT may not be required. The state regulates it. A mistake I see all the time. We only run to the next state over, so we're kind of intrastate, we can skip the MC. No. One state line crossing equals full interstate. There's no kind of here. Operating classification. Why the company hauls. FMCSA also splits by purpose. For hire. For pay. For someone else. 800,000 companies. Needs MC authority. Private. Hauls its own freight. Walmart to its own stores. 600,000. No MC needed. USDOT is enough. Exempt for hire. Hauls only exempt commodities. Agricultural products, unprocessed raw materials. USDOT yes, MC no. Private passenger, business. A hotel moving guests from the airport, that sort of thing. 95% of your cases as a safety manager will be for hire interstate. Standard truck with USDOT and MC hauling someone else's freight across state lines. 2.6. MC authority, what it is. MC authority, motor carrier authority, federal permission from FMCSA to commercially haul someone else's freight or passengers across state lines for pay. Plain version, USDOT number, the company's ID inside the FMCSA system, required for nearly every interstate carrier. MC authority, the license to take money from moving someone else's freight across state lines. Who needs MC? For hire interstate, freight, required. For hire interstate, passengers, required. Private, own freight, not required. Intrastate, usually not required, state regulates. Path to MC, quick version, details in Chapter 4. 1. Register LLC or Corp. 2. Get EIN from IRS. 3. Submit Form MCSA-1 on the FMCSA site. Receive USDOT and MC. Since May 14, 2026, all new registrations go through FMCSA's MODIS system, which replaced the old URS filing portal. 4. Pay the MC fee, at the time of writing, $300. 5. Get insurance, minimum $750K to $1 million liability for general freight, hire for hazmat. 6. Assign a BOC3 agent in every state. 7. After your application is published in the FMCSA register, there is a 10-day protest period, 49 CFR 365.203. All told, expect about 3 weeks to active authority. 8. Receive active operating authority. 9. Enter the new entrant program for 18 months. This is where beginners lose weeks and money. Wrong form, wrong insurance, no BLC3 agent assigned, and the process stalls. At Trucker Navi, we have the Authority Bundle, $499, that closes all of this turnkey. If you don't want to assemble it by hand, call. 2.7. When federal and state fight, and who wins. Advanced topic, but without it every headline will throw you. Supremacy Clause and Federal Preemption. When federal and state law conflict, federal wins by default. Article 6 of the Constitution. The name for this is federal preemption. But that's the rule. Real life has exceptions and fights. Case 1. FLSA and the Motor Carrier Act exemption. FLSA, Fair Labor Standards Act, federal labor law, requires overtime for anyone working more than 40 hours a week, but commercial truck drivers fall under the Motor Carrier Act exemption. They're regulated by DOT, not the Department of Labor. Result? A driver can legitimately run 70 hours a week under HOS, and no federal overtime is owed. The Supreme Court confirmed this back in Morris v. McComb, 1947. Classic split. Same citizen, different industry, different law. Case 2. California AB 5. In 2019, California passed Assembly Bill 5, AB 5, which uses the ABC test to sharply narrow who can be classified as an independent contractor. Read owner-operator. The test requires all three, A. Worker is free from the hirer's control. B. The work is outside the hirer's usual course of business. C. The worker has an independently established business of the same nature. For trucking, prong B is the killer. A driver hauling freight for a carrier is, by definition, performing the carrier's core business. So a classic owner-operator setup under AB 5 in California is off the table. The industry fought this in court on federal preemption grounds. Federal transportation law bars states from regulating rates, routes, and services. In 2022, the Supreme Court declined to hear it. AB 5 stands. What this means for you, company in California, or working with California owner-operators. Go to a worker classification lawyer. Other states are softer, but California is its own story. Case 3. California meal breaks. California enacted its own break rules, stricter than federal HOS. In 2018, DOT ruled, federal HOS preempts the state rules. The state sued and lost. When you see a headline like, California now requires carriers to, don't react on the first move. Check 3 things first. 1. Is the law actually in effect or still being challenged? 2. Is it about interstate or only intrastate? 3. What has FMCSA said on it? 3. 9 times out of 10, the chat group panic is out in front of reality. 2.8. Where the industry is concentrated. Top 3 states by trucking density. 1. California. 200,000 plus companies, 700,000 plus drivers, 500,000 plus trucks. LA Long Beach ports, climate, volume. But the strictest state regulation, AB 5, CARB, emissions. 2. Texas. 100,000 plus companies, 600,000 plus drivers, 600,000 plus trucks. Oil, Mexico, long hauls, friendly regulators. 3. Florida. Lots of companies oriented to the southeast, Caribbean, cruise industry, light tax load. Where to register the company. If you live in the U.S., usually in your state of residence, simpler on taxes. Among Russian-speaking owners, the popular picks are NJ, FL, IL, CA. State of registration, not state of operation. Register in NJ and run all over the country. Totally fine. IFTA you pay based on the states you actually drove, not the state of registration. Chapter 8. 2.9. State departments you'll need. Every state has its own agencies. Names differ, functions overlap. State DOT, state version of federal DOT, roads, permits. DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles, CDLs and truck registration. Department of Revenue, taxation, taxes. IFTA, IRP. Public Utilities Commission, PUC, in some states regulates Intrastate. State Police, Highway Patrol, roadside inspections and crash investigations. Who handles what? What you need, where to go. USDOT, MC, federal. Driver CDL, DMV of the state where the driver lives. Truck registration, DMV of the company's state of registration. IFTA, Department of Revenue of the base state. Oversized permit, state DOT of the state you're passing through. NYHUT, KY, NM, OR, CT, tax departments of those states. Don't memorize this. It's a reference. The logic is simple. Federal stuff through FMCSA, state stuff through state departments. 2.10. Dual view. For owners, track A, owner. Pick one state of registration and learn it properly. Your DMV, your state DOT, your taxes. Other states as your trucks actually start running there. Don't try to become an expert in all 50. It's not needed and it's not possible. For staff safety managers, track B, employed safety. Your scope is broader. One client, learn his state. Multiple clients in multiple states, build yourself a reference navigator. Simple Google sheet, state, key requirements, contacts, deadlines. At Trucker Navi we have one as an internal standard. Building from scratch, budget a week of assembly, then just maintenance. 2.11. Bonus, time zones and the map. Short, but you'll use it at work. In the continental U.S., 4 time zones. 1. Eastern, ET, New York, Florida, Ohio. 2. Central, CT, Texas, most of it, Illinois, Mississippi. 3. Mountain, MT, Colorado, Arizona, Montana. 4. Pacific, PT, California, Oregon, plus Alaska and Hawaii. Important. Time zone boundaries don't match state boundaries. Texas, Florida, Kansas, Idaho, both Dakotas, split across 2 zones. When a driver calls saying, "I'm on the Florida line, how much time have I got left?" That's not small talk, that's HOS. Who regulates time zones? Guess. DOT. Historically, they came out of the railroads. The Standard Time Act is from 1918. Interstate highways. In 1956, Eisenhower signed the Federal Aid Highway Act, and the country got its national highway network, 41,000 miles. That network is what made long-haul trucking economically possible. The numbering is simple. Even, I-10, I-40, I-80, east-west. Odd, I-5, I-75, I-95, north-south. 1- and 2-digit main interstates. 3-digit beltways and spurs. Why a safety manager cares. Driver says, "I'm stuck on I-95 in Jersey." You see the map in your head. Planning a route, you know I-10 runs south and I-80 runs north. And in winter, that's 2 different stories, different permits, different IFTA miles. Key takeaway. Chapter 2, Takeaway 1. The U.S. has 2 legal systems running at once, federal and state. Federal wins by default, but not always. 2. DOT, Department. FMCSA, agency inside DOT, your main regulator. 3. FMCSA writes the rules. 49 CFR, issues authority. USDOT, MC, controls, fines. 4. Interstate versus intrastate is the fork. Cross a state line equals full interstate equals full federal rules. 5. MC authority. FMCSA license to haul someone else's freight across state lines for pay. For hire, required. Private, not. 6. 49 CFR, the federal code. Key parts, 382, 383, 385, 390-396. 7. Federal preemption. Federal usually beats state, but AB 5 showed it's not guaranteed. 8. Country has 50 states, 4 time zones, 41,000 miles of interstate highways. Know your own state, the rest as work demands. You've got Chapter 2 if. You can explain the difference between interstate, intrastate, and give one example of each. You remember .dot, Department, FMCSA, agency inside it. You know 49 CFR is the federal code for carriers. You understand what MC authority is and who needs it. You can tell for hire from private. You know what federal preemption is and why AB 5 is its own story. You know your company's state of registration or the future one. You know where to look for state regulations, state DOT, DMV, Department of Revenue. Where people break at the start. 4 classic fails I see over and over. 1. We only run to the next state so we're not full interstate. Yes, you are. 1 state line crossed equals full federal rules. 2. Registered in the wrong state, picked on emotion, paying extra tax for years. 3. Wrong operating classification, filed private, but actually hauling for hire, MC doesn't issue, business is frozen. 4. No BOC3 agent assigned, MC stays on hold until it's assigned. At Trucker Navi, the Authority Bundle, $4.99, covers company registration, USDOT, MC, BOC3, insurance, and handling all the way to active authority. If you don't want to piece it together yourself, call 315-871-0833, WhatsApp +1 929 347 4410, truckernavi.com, data at truckernavi.com, offices, NY, NJ, FL. That was a chapter from Safety Manager from Zero to Expert by Dmitry Borovoy, founder of Trucker Navi. The full book is on Amazon. The companion page is at truckernavi.com/en/book.